I'm out here this morning. You're going to see three detectors there in this camera. A Legend made by Nocto Micro on the left, a MindLab Equinox 800 in the middle, and the DS2 made by XP. Now, we hear the word best used, and it's used, believe it or not, by quite a few people. Better, best, worse, okay? And sometimes when you hear the word best mentioned, people come out of the woodwork and start saying whatever, okay? Now, the word best has been used by even an engineer, okay, with a lot of years of experience rating certain metal detectors. I'm not going to mention his name. He knows what he's talking about, surely to God. If he don't know what he's talking about, who does? Anyway, I'm not going to tell you all which one of these machines is the best unmasker in iron. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm not exactly sure. But here's a few things to keep in mind, okay? How would we rate one of these machines that's best in iron? Well, there's some factors that weighs into this, okay? We could take all three of these machines, for example. We could go to a high iron site. We could flag 500 targets. At the end of let's say we took these machines out of the box, somebody very experienced, played with them for a while, and went out and did that. After that was done, would we know which one of these machines is the best unmasker in iron? The answer is maybe. Why is that? Well, remember, iron unmasking is seeing objects in iron, okay? But the question is, what objects are you talking about? How about if you first look at the machines outside of the iron? Is it possible one machine can see certain targets better? Maybe cylindrical, maybe disc-shaped like cone. Okay. So even if we went to the site and did that, we wouldn't have, we really couldn't say. We might see a trend and we might be tempted, but if we go to a Civil War site, for example, full of iron, that's got a lot of maybe one of these machines here is better on billet-shaped targets, but maybe one of the others is better on button-shaped targets. So see, your results could get skewed, okay? Now, this is all extemporaneous, what I'm saying here. I don't have any notes, okay? But now, here's the other thing. We start messing with disc on a metal detector. Well, we can take a Tesoro, and I'm not picking on a Tesoro, but we could take a Tesoro. We could turn the disc way down on it, couldn't we? We could actually intentionally, if we wanted to, we could turn it to where the nail is sounding probably a little better than it needs to be. And we could go out and we might find some non-ferrous, okay, mask. We might even dig some incidental non-ferrous. And the machine didn't even give us a clue the non-ferrous was there. It was actually the nail the machine was hitting. And we dug an incidental find. It happened to be non-ferrous, but we heard the nail. That could even happen with one of these machines. Okay? And it probably has. Now, this machine on the left is the newest release. The one on the right's the next newest, and the one in the middle's been out about 4 years. So that happens sometimes, okay? And people don't even realize it. It's probably happened to me. Okay, I'm not a perfect detectorist, and these machines will never be perfect, okay? Because the line between non-ferrous and ferrous, there'll never be a fine line when it comes to electronics. But these engineers are doing all they can, to, do the best they can with what they have, They can only do so much. So I'm going to just put a wonder if out here, okay? And you may see me do some of this. These machines, they have iron bias, silencer, iron filter, and then they have disc. So here's something to think about. Wonder if we did this. If we take 3 nails, maybe a square nail, smaller modern nail, and another iron nail. Now, a reasonable size, not a nail this long, and we set these machines up, bringing the disc setting down. to where the nail makes absolutely no noise coming over the disc circuit. And then once we get all these machines set up that way, and we can play with the tone break even on this Legend, we can even, I think, play with it on this Equinox. When we get that all done, and then we do some actual unmasking on top of the ground test, challenged, which machine there seems to have the edge? What would that tell us? Would it tell us anything? See, I can take a machine, I can take this DS2, for example, and I can let the disc on that dude down, okay? I can let her down to, I don't know, probably 5.6 and go into a sight, and I might find some stuff. But I might be putting up with a lot of iron tone. You know, iron coming over the disc circuit. So, you know, when we hear these machines talked about, you know, which is best, you know, well, you know, to be honest with you, you know, we see this Monty's nail bore test, which I sort of find it laughable, okay? But, hey, it is a test. It does show something, okay? But it doesn't show the whole picture. But where is the test that's done that, or test, it could be more than one, where is the test that's sort of universal that says, uh-oh, this one right here, boys, passes this, and this one don't, and this one don't. So it likely is the better unmasker. Where is that at? I ain't seen that, okay? So this is always out there, you know, in metal detector land, metal detecting forums, you know, well, which is best? Of course, you know, when you use that word best, you know what's going to happen, okay? But there has to, one of them has to be best, but now there's another question. Is it best in all conditions? And let's just get rid of ground mineralization. We're just talking about the different iron content in a sight, square nail versus modern nail, okay? And then, like I said, you have the different non-ferrous targets. I mean, it was spotted fairly early on. The DS1, and it's not in this camera picture here. The DS1 had a knack, disc-shaped targets, round. That thing loved them, okay? Probably loved them better than any machine ever made when it come out, and that's been a long time ago. It's still out, still being made. This DS2 is showing signs of that as well, okay? But that's just that classification of target. You know, there's other targets out there. Actually, I found this Equinox when I got it to be better on spherical objects in the ground versus the DS1 with high frequency calls, and I said as much on the metal detecting forums. I was finding musket balls with it in a sight. I'd pounded, I started doing head-to-head, and lo and behold, the Equinox tonally, and that's the other thing we need to get in here. What about the tone? We can have a machine that's actually, let's say, as good. You can have two machines that are actually equals, but the tone that the signature they provide, they're both providing signature, but one's easier to hear than the other one. One's easier to decipher than the other one. There's your other thing you have to look at, okay? So there's a lot of variables. It's not just, you know, when you say best, you know, one machine may have louder volume. I'll even give a little shout out here. Now listen, I'm not in the tank with Mind Lab or Nocta Macro or XP. I'm not in the tank. I use their equipment, but I'll give a shout out to this Equinox right here, right now. One thing about it that's very unusual is it can actually detect tough targets, mask, and it gives a tone, and you listen to it, you wouldn't even think it's a mass target till you slip some other detectors over it, and then you'll find out, uh-oh. So that's how it works. Now, it can give mixed, you know, it can give some mixed audio where it sounds like it's not quite non-ferrous, but it doesn't sound like it's quite ferrous. But many times that machine there, it'll give a nice little high pinging sound. You'll see a 12 or 13 in the meter, and you'll dig, and there it is. So just give all this some thought, you know, and you may see me do some of this testing, okay, to see. I'm never going to tell you which one's the best, okay? You'll just have to look at the data and make up your own mind, and you buy what you want, you use what you want, you sell what you want, okay? I hope you enjoyed the video.